All right, welcome to what is it, the sixth edition of the Small Business Sit Down with Star Fox Media. Our guest today is Jesse Richardson, co-owner of Ebullition Brew Works in Vista, California. I guess, new-ish brewery. Not that new anymore, huh?
No, not that new. It'll be our fourth year coming up. Fourth
That's
anniversary. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So, breweries are a lot of fun. Obviously, I'm a fan.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, thank you.
A frequenter.
Coming in since the beginning. We appreciate that.
Yeah. So I think one thing that'd be really interesting to our listeners is how does one get started in something like that? So what's your background?
Yeah, it's kind of a long road, My wife started at Stone back in 2009. And so we were always, around these beer events and talking to really influencers in the beer community. And at that time, it was a little smaller. You had the big guys, and then maybe a couple little smaller breweries like I think Hess was just coming up at the time. We had the AleSmiths, the Stones, Ballast Point. And I was like, hey, you can actually make this stuff on your own? That's awesome. I just never really thought about it. Always a hobbyist and looking for the newest hobby to get into and dive into. And I like making, building, creating, designing. And that kind of had all the elements, And so I was like, oh, I got to get a homebrew kit. So I got my first kit, and that was when Mother Earth in Vista had just opened. They had their little homebrew store. And so I got this kit and took it home. And then one of the quality control guys, Rick Blankmeyer from Stone, came over. He did the QC in, for Stone. And he came over. He's like, hey, I'll show you, the ins and outs of homebrewing for your first time.
That's a great person to learn from.
It was awesome. And, we went through it, and then pretty soon I was brewing on my own. And then that was my cousin and I were living together, Eric Dyer, who's my business partner in the brewery. And we started brewing together, and with some of the other roommates we had at the time. And we would share it around, and people were liking what we were doing. We were just sitting around having some homebrew one night, and we were like, we should just do this as a little side thing, kind of like a Mike Hess deal, where we got our corporate day jobs, but we could have a little small space somewhere and then open it up on the weekends and let the friends come over, try it, and, just experiment. Very small and homegrown, but something to kind of divert our attention from, the day-to-day stuff. And so we went down that path, and then we didn't realize that right away. And we kind of went separate ways. Our relationships with our now wives started to grow, and we got married, some other big life events. You have kids. So it just kept getting kind of put on the back burner. But we kept, new systems and, brewing different stuff and independently. And then we finally said, let's make a go of it. We're tired of the whole corporate thing. Let's just go, let's go full steam. So at that same time, I had a friend of mine, Jan Buncher, who's now a partner as well, co-owner. And he was kind of in the same place. We were in marketing together, and he was kind of bored with what he was doing. And he was like, I'm kind of a free agent right now. This was, still things were still kind of balancing out after 2008, Mm-hmm. And I said, well, hey, we're writing this business plan. If you want to do the marketing portion and then take a look at what we're doing, let's hit a few breweries, see what you're into. We're looking for investment also. And so we all kind of put our money together, put our heads together, finished out this business plan, and formed the corporation in, I think it was January 2013. And then it was all about looking for funding. And, we started out at one size system, a little 3-barrel system, and a little tiny 1,000 square foot spot, and found a location and got the permits for that. And then some things fell through, and we ended up deciding to go to Vista. and his brother-in-law, Jan's brother-in-law, just purchased a building, much larger space, 4,000 square feet. And by this time, you're talking, it was like 2015. So, things it had taken a while to get the business plan done and find the proper amount of funding. And by that time, we realized, you had guys that had already come up and were, maturing, to the tune of like 2 years or so, and kind of going to that next phase, like Booze Brothers and Mother Earth was already, killing it, Belching Beaver. And so we decided to kind of scale up our vision for it and go for bigger investment. And so we did that, and we figured, let's poise ourselves for success in not only being able to start out, but also grow in this space with this system and realize some of our things that we had set out in our growth model. So we did that. We went from a 3-barrel system to a 10-barrel system, and then we just kept chipping away at that plan, and we got our permitting done with the TTB and the ABC, and got our permits through the city, and then we ended up building out the place ourselves, and took way too long to do it. So we ultimately didn't. After doing build out and everything, we ended up opening in 2017 in July.
How long do you think you were doing homebrew before you decided that it was time to do it officially?
Yeah, it's probably like 2011 or so.
You're saying the corporation, everything was like 2013, so it was a couple years of just doing it for fun before you decided.
Yeah, let's do this thing. Yeah, let's jump in, or maybe in 2012. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, that was It wasn't long because it was so new too. And it was like, oh, this is, nobody's really doing this. Well, I had no idea at the time. Everybody had the same idea. So, and then we were ultimately late to the party. Other people were kind of in more of a position to execute faster than we were. But, we stuck with it, and we had great reception from the Vista community and the Vista Brewers Guild and the CCBA and all these organizations that have formed now were very helpful and instrumental in helping us kind of be successful in our opening. So
did you have any idea how to run a brewery before you did it, or was it kind of just figure it out as you go along?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, understood kind of operations, and I've been more in the marketing side, but also done some contract manufacturing and other things like that. So, had a good, I guess, working knowledge of it, but that wasn't like something that I had been brought up in. You know what I mean? I didn't come from that industry, but had been in similar manufacturing.
So at least you had the tools,
we could build on them
individually. You knew all the things you'd have to do, so it was just putting it into a new industry. And
correct. And we, my partners also, they have their own skill sets too, so we all kind of brought those together. But we quickly realized that, okay, as these operations grow into more of a commercial brewing setting rather than just a glorified homebrew setup, which we were used to, we would need help on the brewing side. From recipe development. Now former brewmaster Mike Reedy, who was a retired math professor, and my wife happened to meet him. We were at Booze Brothers one day, and they were talking, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm starting a brewery," and we had a real estate agent who was kind of helping us find a building at the time before we found the one we're ultimately in now. And she said, "Oh, I want you to meet somebody." And my wife was already talking to him. And he goes, "Hey, I'm Mike." He's like, "Do you need a brewer?" And I said, "We do." And he was like, "Done." So it was literally like that fast. Himself. Yeah. So we went to his house. He shared some of his wares with us, and decorated home brewer as well. And he was one of I don't know if he was an original member, but he was in Quaff, which is the kind of the big homebrewing society back in, I think it started in the late 80s and grew, and is one of the main reasons why there's such a great brewing scene here, is because all these guys who started this homebrew community way back then kind of went on to start or either work at now, large successful breweries. So he came on board, and we started piloting batches together and testing, and then we just started going full steam once we got that green light. So yeah, he's now moved on, and we had another a younger guy. His name's Tyler Nail. He came to work with us, trained under Mike for a little while, but came from Green Flash and Carver out of Colorado, and he ended up taking on the brewing position once Mike retired completely, and he just put out great stuff. And now he's moved on. He's moving to Montana, and we've got another guy by the name of Cameron Wilcox who is now taking over operations, and he's doing a stellar job.
When you have a switch in your head brewery, is there a noticeable change in the beer usually, or is it they learn from each other enough to where they can kind of maintain?
Yeah, I think there is. Definitely everybody has their style. Mike and Tyler had shared a very similar mindset in brewing. Even at the age gap there, is they like to make balanced beer, not too hoppy. They didn't like to ride trends too much, which I appreciate too, because sometimes you can get lost in that and always trying to chase, so we just stayed kind of rooted in what we did and putting out good classic, styles, and then a dabble here and there where we felt was appropriate in some of the trendier stuff. But
yeah, one of the trendier things is you guys do a seltzer now.
Yeah, so that was, I was kind of like, I don't know, I never really drank them, so I was like, But Tyler, he was really liking them. He started drinking them, I think, when he had some time off, just because it was like light and easy. And he was like, hey, maybe we should make one of these. And I was like, And then Eric came in and was like, let's do it.
It's not a bad idea, because there's definitely some people that aren't beer drinkers.
Totally.
But, they hang out with beer drinkers.
No doubt.
Want something that they can have a go-to thing.
Easy, so. And yeah. And Tyler made the first one, and I think he hit it out of the park. Mm-hmm. And
it is very good.
Yeah, thanks. And he's now made several different styles, and I mean, each one I'm just like, man, I'm a fan now, and that's almost what I drink all the time. Yeah, but it's easy.
It's funny how that works, right?
Yeah.
I know sometimes, like, I just feel like they're a little bit lighter, so when it's like really hot outside and stuff,
sure.
It's a great summer beverage. And then of course I feel it's like also, I don't know if it's better calorie wise and like health wise and that kind of stuff.
Right. It's like lighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it is. I mean, they're not, we dry them all the way out, so there's not a lot of residual sugar left in them. It's almost like the La Croix of the beer world.
Yeah. It's nice though, because I think some of these kind of beverages and the ones that you get in the cans, a lot of times the flavor on them is kind of weak. You know what I mean? Like we always used to joke, it's like someone whispered watermelon into your ear. That's the taste.
Yes, it's like how I treat my vermouth and my martinis.
Yeah.
And then you pour in the
so I mean, I think that the when you do them in a brewery, like they actually get a lot more of that flavor. I think they retain a lot more in there.
For sure. And a lot of these, sometimes they'll use an extract, and we don't like to do that. We like to use puree when we can, just because the flavor is so much smoother and more organic and feels, like the real thing. So that comes through.
And that's nice, right? Like, it's nice to be able to say that too. It's like, no, we use real ingredients.
Completely.
Because seltzers, they seem chemically, don't they? Like,
for sure. Yes,
artificially flavored.
But
you're like, nah, we use
the real deal,
puree.
Totally, yeah. And it doesn't really, it comes out very clean and crisp, and you don't see anything floating around, and that's a testament to the brewing side and them doing just a stellar job on that end. So it's good. I'm pleased.
Have there been any? How is it working in like such a? I mean, I guess now impacted industry? Like like the Vista brew scene is intense.
Yeah, I think for the longest time, brewers and brewery owners were like, no, we're together in this thing and we're going to do it. It's fine, But I think it definitely did hit kind of a saturation point, especially where we're at in the Vista Business Park, where it was, you were struggling to pull every customer in. We were number 17 at the time in Vista. And I think it ultimately climbed up a little bit, like 19 or 20, but then you had some kind of balancing with some guys leaving. But you saw everybody now start to go, okay, we got to carve a niche in some direction. Mm-hmm. So you saw like Booze Brothers go into the event side of things and doing weddings. And, that's been very instrumental for their business. We kind of went into an event space kind of thing as well, but more towards music and art, and now ultimately into the culinary world. But, you had to find these pockets to kind of stay afloat. And we also moved into distribution, but on the distribution side, you have so many guys coming to the scene now, and everybody's got killer artwork and killer brands, and it's the competition is steep there, and the margins are thin. So we have yet to get into the shelving world, and battle there. It's somewhere we'd like to go, but we've kind of focused our efforts onto our new Carlsbad location and getting the restaurant going. And then with sales kind of dipping with this whole COVID thing, our distribution's kind of, it's really light. So I don't know when we'll get there, but it is in the future.
I think you're doing it the right way. I mean, you focused on the Vista Business Park location first. You got that thing kicking it. I'd go in there and you'd have pack houses with music. It was
fun, man. It was fun.
And that, obviously pre-COVID.
Yeah. Now it's like, oh man.
But yeah, so and then you open the Carlsbad branch with the food and your menu's killing it now. Like the food's really good. Your chef's awesome.
Oh, he's stellar. Yeah.
So I think that you're right. Distribution, on cans and shelves, and
it's a tough game.
Yeah, but after you're getting there on the Carlsbad one. So what's next, right?
Always
that's looking at the next.
Yeah, for sure. We've got some visions in the growth model for distilling and other things, but who knows? We're kind of liking this restaurant situation, how that's working. Maybe it's another one of those. Maybe it's a tasting room. I don't know. But we're going to hold tight for now and see where things go, since they are kind of, up in the air with COVID. So
yeah, and that's an interesting subject these days. I usually don't like to dwell on the COVID stuff too much during these, but for your industry in particular, because it's in-person people going to your location, I'm sure it's impacted you guys tremendously.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. We had to be pretty nimble with the way we kind of strategized moving forward. And unfortunately, we had to close the Vista location with the newer mandates to have food. We could bring in a food truck and try to do that. And we have a little patio there, but, our location's kind of off the beaten path. It'd be hard. It'd be hard to support, the food and the beer at the same time. So we decided to focus all the efforts into the restaurant right now and keep the labor low by just having owners there. And having the patio and being able to extend beyond the patio into walkways, we've been very fortunate to be able to continue serving.
The Carlsbad location's a great place.
It's been
do you
good.
still have the Vista one? Is that where you still do the brewing?
Brewing's still going, and we're happy we can still do that. But yeah, the tasting room, we're not serving out of there. We just transport that beer back and forth, So yeah, one day we'll get
at least
that
you still got use for both locations. So
yeah, no, definitely.
Because that was your brewing location primarily, right?
Yeah.
So that was
brewing distribution.
I remember you expanded a little bit. You got the next door unit as well.
Yeah,
and then
So we expanded that to support that distribution effort because we were brewing a lot more beer, and we just needed that space. So eventually we just said, okay, we got to move over. So we did that, and then we created a green room space in there too for bands, and brought in the stage and some lighting to help facilitate the music event efforts. So it's been a good space to us, and been very malleable. We've been able to kind of adjust it as we need and make it really work for us. And the restaurant's been great too. So hopefully we can keep cranking it.
Do you guys have your beer in other like restaurant locations and things?
Yeah, I mean these days it's a little light out there, but at the pre-COVID we were about a little over 70 accounts.
Nice.
Focused mainly in North County, maybe a few stragglers, a little more south. We still retain a handful of those, but it's few and far between now with the amount of kegs that are moving out.
I think it's awesome that you guys were nimble like that, like you said, because it's when there's challenging times like these, I think what makes a business successful is being able to quickly, like change what you're doing, pivot, and like do something different. And so like you guys are on DoorDash now, and some of those delivery accounts.
Those have been those kept us going, really.
Yeah.
When we were shut down initially for just takeout, but now we continue to use them, and they're great. I mean, you take a little bit of a hit on the what you make, but you're exposed to so many more customers, and they function very well. And we're pleased with them. We go through Grubhub and DoorDash right now. We're bringing on Uber Eats and maybe a select couple others, but yeah, we like it.
Was there any weirdness with trying to do like alcoholic beverages on those apps, or was it
no? Grubhub was already doing it. I think DoorDash does, but you have to qualify or something. I haven't had a chance to look into it yet, but Grubhub, no issues. They handle the identification at the door, and it's just very smooth. So
surprising.
Yeah. No, the ABC's really been very helpful through this whole thing.
Which also sounds surprising to me.
Yes.
Because I've heard that it can be very difficult to get permits. Dealing with these kinds of things can be very difficult. So
no doubt, we've been fortunate to have. They've been pretty cool. So. Extending walkways and things like that. It's been great.
It's been nice seeing how accommodating places have been, because
no doubt,
I'm sure all the parking ordinances, and there's lots of things with sidewalks and ADA and all that kind of stuff is probably technically being violated,
right?
But they're trying to accommodate because there's no other choice.
Totally,
probably.
Yeah.
No, and I guess if you're operating at much limited capacity as well, then maybe you don't need quite as much parking, because
it's true.
If you're only allowed to have 25% occupancy or something like that, we only need 25% of the parking.
That's very true. Yeah, they've you're seeing everybody get very creative on that, and everybody's open minded about it too, which is great. Otherwise, oh man, it'd be a headache.
Yeah, more of a headache than it already is.
Yeah.
But, okay, so what's the next steps for Ebullition, do you think? Where are you going?
Yeah, we've got a few ideas. Not really sure where we're going to take it, but right now it's just kind of staying in a holding pattern. Working that restaurant, really trying to refine that and make sure we're putting out the best quality product that we can. And the team's great, and they've been very good at kind of adapting with us through the whole thing. So we'll see. I don't know. There's a couple different avenues we could go. I'm not sure what it might be yet.
Any fun new releases coming out?
We got a nice dry Irish stout that's coming out, and that one's actually going into the GABF competition. We sent that out today, so that'll be coming on tap. We've got a new variation of one of our popular hazies coming out with some different dry hops.
Big fan of the hazies.
Really? Okay, yeah. I have to come in and try that one.
Yes.
I'm curious. It's in the fermenter right now, bubbling away. So that'll be coming up soon. Other than that, we're going to keep doing some new seltzers, and then
right now you got the passion fruit orange guava. Is that what?
Actually, now it's the blackberry lemon.
Oh,
That one's really nice. It's
haven't tried
actually
this
one of
one
my favorites. Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, you'll have to try that one out. And then we've got
Alright.
some cool experimental beers we'll be bringing out once we bring our fermenters at the restaurant online. So turmeric and wild rice, honey ale.
Ooh.
We'll be doing some fun stuff. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know you said you like to kind of stick to the, your strong spot, but I was like, that doesn't mean you can't be creative.
no, for sure. And we have a very small pilot system that we can have fun on. So that's where we'll bring that. And the new our new brewer Cameron, he's very excited to start doing some stuff there. So we'll probably jump in on that.
Yeah,
together.
you said the other two brewers were kind of similar in their brewing and thinking. So Cameron's a little.
Cameron's he's pretty much got the same mindset, but he likes to do things maybe a touch different. And I think he does like to explore some of these more aggressive styles. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck on the competition.
Thank you.
I hope that you win, and bring back some medals for
that'd be awesome.
For the brewery.
That'd be very cool.
And if anyone is in the North County area and wants to try some Ebullition, there's the location in Carlsbad, which is in Bressy Ranch.
Correct.
That's the current one that's open.
Yep.
And then I guess maybe some restaurants. Do you guys, and it's not in stores yet.
Not in stores yet. Yeah, it's coming. We're working on the canning and stuff, but we'll see.
You got the cool. I don't know if they can see it from there, but like the cool like crowlers.
Yeah, the crowlers are fun. Those are
can
Growler.
growler.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, so that's exciting stuff.
Yeah, so hopefully soon.
Make sure you go by and try them out. They got great food, great beer, and great seltzer. It sounds like that I'm gonna have to go try.
Yeah, definitely.
One of these days. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you having me, man.
Of course.
Right on.